All right. Excellent. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your time and your energy. And we're going to go ahead and get this party started as quickly as we can so we don't waste anybody's time. So if you're here, you are here hopefully for the instructor's informational meeting / presentation / discussion. That's what we're talking about today. What is University of Scouting 2022 all about? How are we going to do this and make it successful? I'm going to ask really briefly if anybody has any clarifying questions or needs something explained in better detail that I'm telling you it doesn't make sense. Please feel free to stop me. You can do that by unmuting yourself and just saying, hey, Mike, I have a question. That's awesome. You can throw it into the chat here. I'll be trying to monitor the chat. I think Jennifer will also monitor the chat as we go. Right, Jen? Yep. Okay. Awesome. Very good. That'll be helpful. That's a great way to queue up a question. And then when I have a chance, I'll just look up, or Jennifer will poke me and say, hey, Mike, you have a question. That's perfect. If that doesn't work, feel free to have my phone here. Jennifer has her phone. Send us a text if you can't get to the chat. If you're on a tablet or a phone and you're just listening and you're like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? What does that thing say? Let us know. We're here to try to make sure that everyone walks out of this meeting as best you can. Yes, we are going to post this on YouTube. So for those of you in the meeting this evening, you can ask questions and get cognizant answers. Kara Kirtland, I think, had a great observation that, yes, you can ask a video questions, but don't expect good answers. So I'm here with Jennifer Hahn. We are your points of contact. My title this year is Provost, which means I handed the baton off to Jennifer about 1.5 years ago. She is your chancellor. Most importantly, if you have questions, you have concerns, something's not making sense, please reach out to one or both of us. We talk, I mean, it feels like daily sometimes. We're back and forth, and that's okay because communication is essential. So we are your resources, email, phone, text, whatever works for you guys. So please see us as a resource for you. We also have a fair number of our deans in the house this evening. I saw Colleen is here. I don't know if I see anybody else on the list. Yeah, so we have other deans that are awesome. So Colleen is our dean, Colleen Louie, our dean of Scouts BSA classes. Daryl Crossman is our dean of general interest classes. A lot of you know Daryl. He's been doing this for a long time with me. Dave Markle is our dean for Cub Scouting classes. And Frank, Jennifer, how do you say his last name? Is it Villa? Do you know? You're muted.
I think it was Via.
Okay.
Via.
Thank you. He is our dean of advancement classes. And did we bestow Dolly with a title, Jennifer? I'm trying to remember. No, she's just awesome, Dolly. Okay. So we have a great staff and we're here to help. So that's what this is all about. All right, I'm going to go through a few really simple, quick hits here. First and foremost, thank you. If you're on this call, you are almost certainly a volunteer that has offered to teach a class. And we sincerely appreciate it. You are here teaching at University of Scouting because you are a content expert in some way, shape, or form. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that. We greatly appreciate it. To give you a 30,000-foot altitude view, this isn't on the slide, but I'll just mention it. We have 102-ish unique classes this year, and taught by roughly 70, 71, 72 unique instructors. So it's not a small thing. We're a little bit smaller than we were in 2019, but we are super excited to be back in person. So the big points here, Saturday, November 5th. Yes, you have 31 days, people, and your planning team is feeling the pressure for sure. Jennifer's feeling it, I know. We are back in person. It is awesome. We got a lot of feedback from folks that they're ready and excited to be back in person at Mount Hood Community College. There's the address if you've never been there. Our schedule is similar, but a little bit different to the past year. So just to give you an overview, our check-in does start again at 7:30 a.m. Our goal is to have all of our volunteer registration folks down on underneath the overhang with all of your packets and everything ready to go at 7:30 in the morning. And Carrie Hutchcraft, we hope, will be also down there to handle any walk-ins that just stumbled in and want to go to University of Scouting. It's all going to be the same as it was in 2019. The opening ceremony starts at 8:30. We're going to be brief to the point. We're not going to be long yabber yabber jabberwocky. Just we're going to get it done. We've got, I think, one person aside from Jennifer who's going to give you the news, sports, and weather. One possibly inspirational speaker, we hope, and we're going to be out 15-20 minutes, and that's because classes start at 9 a.m. Here's the big difference from last year. We're taking those 60-minute classes and we're compressing them down to 50. We're taking 10 minutes away from you. For those of you who, like me, have a class or more than one where you struggled to get all the material in 60 minutes, I'm sorry, I feel your pain. Please help us out. I am going to be having a hard time with this too, with one of the classes that I teach. I struggle to get all the material in. I'm going to have to just start bailing stuff that is not as important. The reason we're doing this, and it's kind of what we learned last 2 years being virtual, is people really appreciate a 1 hour break for lunch. So we've built that in. All the classes start on the hour, which for my brain is going to be very helpful. So 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and lunch starts at essentially 11:50 a.m., or you can think of it as noon. We're going to have that 1 hour break, and we're doing some really cool things with lunch. I'll come back and maybe have Jennifer talk about that real quick if she's willing. Session 4 starts at 1, then 2, then 3, and then closing starts at 4 p.m. We're out the door at 4:20, 4:25. That's the day. We're not extending it. We're just asking those classes be a little bit smaller. So we're doing some really cool stuff. If you want to unmute yourself, Jennifer, real quick, with lunch with some, are we calling them fireside chats, or was there a different phrase you're using?
I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out yet. It'll be whatever I decide when it actually goes on the document that goes in the registration forms. But the gist of it is, since we are not providing lunch this year, and we're going to this 50-minute session, it actually gives us a dedicated lunch period, which, before we had one of the most frequent complaints we had from participants was that I didn't know that I could eat lunch and take an extra class. I hated, having to take class and, or take a lunch, miss a class. And this way, everyone can take all the classes they want and they're not missing out on anything. But it also gives us a time where, our participants are either eating in classrooms or at midway, and it provides an opportunity for, hey, let's get together and chat. Maybe we've got a group of first-time Cub Scout leaders or Scouts BSA leaders who'd like to get together and kind of maybe, share some of their, war stories and maybe, success ideas. Or it's an opportunity to meet our council commissioners, or to, for some of the classes that might invite some more discussion. I know Dave Karsten is really interested in talking more about practical empathy. The knots class is interested in, hey, you want to stay and work a little bit more on it? Hey, let's stay and work on knots and eat lunch. So that's kind of the idea behind it, to give people a place to eat, a chance to connect, because that is our theme, to reconnect. So, let's provide opportunities for people to connect with each other. And so that's what I got.
And to be clear, there is still a lunch room. We're going to use Vista Dining. You can take your lunch to the dining room and dining hall, I should say, and eat your lunch with folks. You can go out. You have a whole hour and 10 minutes to go and come back. There's a whole bunch of stuff nearby, Albertsons, Taco Bell, all the good things. So all kinds of options available. And I'll get back to the whole lunch isn't part of the deal this year and explain that a little bit too. So let's go over our agenda real quick as we go forward. I got some minor details to mention, some setup and classroom things we want to go over, especially for those of you who have not taught at Mount Hood Community College. We'll kind of give you some expectations for what you're going to see when you walk in the classroom and what you need to bring with you, if anything. Speaking of bringing things with you, we're going to talk about equipment and our loading zone. We had some challenges in 2019. We're going to fix those. We're going to talk about expenses and reimbursement, and then course materials going into the Google Drive, and finally attendance sheets. So let's dig right into those minor details. First and foremost, we ask all of us to please register as staff. You get a discount, you get a packet, you get a patch, you get a lanyard with your schedule and some trinkets. I believe, Jennifer, we settled on if you are a council professional, maybe you don't have to, or were we going back on that? I forget what the deal was.
You don't have to,
Right.
but Kathleen Jordan just
She
registered,
just
uh,
registered. Cool.
paid
So
the
there you go.
full regular fee. So
Well, she's teaching, so there you go. So yeah, the staff fee is $15, and Jennifer and I kind of went back and forth on what that means, but we landed on, we really want to say thank you to those of you who volunteered the better part of a day, a Saturday in November, to come out and spread your wisdom and knowledge to the other volunteers, especially the new ones in our council. We have a lot of first year registered volunteers coming out to learn things from each of you. So that's really awesome. And we thank you for being part of this. This year's a little different than 2019. We asked you back then to not sign up for the class you take, your teaching or classes. And this year we're going back on that because we got a fair bit of feedback on it wasn't on my daily schedule. Therefore, I forgot where I was supposed to be. So this year, please do sign up to take the class that you're teaching or classes. And what Jennifer is going to do is she's going to keep a very close eye on the numbers as we go. And if your class starts to fill up, she's going to go talk to Carrie Hutchcraft. And if it gets full and either you have or haven't registered as the instructor, we'll be able to adjust that maximum so that you can get in. So we don't want to like have your body replace somebody else who's a participant. We just don't want to get to a point where you don't know where you're supposed to be. So your schedule on your lanyard will indicate what class you're supposed to be at, whether you're teaching or not, and what room that's in. Jennifer, anything to add to that in terms of?
yes, in fact, because I
Please.
see it with Deb. Deb got it, posted it before I even said it. So this question actually came up from somebody else who has one of the fee classes, and it's, do I have to pay the fee? And I said, okay, don't register for the class, don't pay the fee. So I'm sure I can work with Carrie and we'll work it out.
We'll
for
figure
Deb.
that one out. Well, that's a good one for the Dutch oven
But if you
cooking
have
guys
a,
also.
yeah, but if you have, if you have a fee class, don't register for it. And, and for, Tim Georgie, who's already registered his staff but didn't sign up for class that he's teaching. Again, that would be a Carrie thing. It doesn't really matter to me if you sign up or not. It was really for the instructors to have that on their schedule. So if that's not important to you, don't worry about it. If you really want it on your schedule, then, I think Carrie can help with that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. And just to be clear, I registered as staff and I signed up for my 2 classes. I might drop in another class or 2 during the day. Don't tell anyone and just see how things are going. But I want to be flexible to be able to help solve problems. So hopefully that's clear to everybody. And as Jennifer mentioned, there's a long story for why this is, and it really doesn't have to do with keeping the cost down. It has more to do with Mount Hood Community College was between food vendors while we had to lock our reservation in. So we don't have any ability to provide food this year fundamentally. So lunch isn't provided. And the upside of that is on the feedback forms, we don't have to hear about how somebody's chicken Caesar sandwich didn't have enough sandwich in it or whatever it was. Always feedback about the food. So bring your own lunch and give yourself feedback about how great it was, or don't and go out and get it, whatever. But we're putting this word out to you as staff, first and foremost, and as well to all the participants that that's just not something we're going to provide this year. We're working on coffee in the morning. We'll see how that goes. I think we're trying to twist an arm to make that happen. And we're also working on as part of the Midway, sort of a human-powered vending machine for snacks and things like that. Don't expect a massive sandwich out of that or anything. It's just going to be snacks if it comes together, and that would benefit the National Jamboree contingents, if anything. So please do register and let us know if you have any questions. Call Carrie Hutchcraft if you have any challenges or anything like that. Any questions about registration or anything like that so far? Oh, is Grubhub available? That's an excellent question. I have no idea, Sarah. I wouldn't be surprised if you could call in Grubhub, but I don't know for sure. You should try it. We should do a walkthrough, Jennifer, and then get Grubhub.
DoorDash will go anywhere that you tell them to. So just meet them up at the parking lot door or parking lot entrance.
There you go. Dan's got a great suggestion. DoorDash it, whatever you need. I'm just going to bring a brown bag sack lunch because that's who I am. But think ahead about what your schedule looks like, where you want to be during that hour of break. If you're one of the people that's providing what I think of as a fireside chat, I know Kathleen is, and a few others on the call. So just think about what that's going to be for you. Great question, Sarah. Thank you. All right. Any other questions about registration? I'll give it just a bit. All right. Let's move on to classrooms and setup. If you've been out to Mount Hood Community College, you know that we will not have access to the classrooms on the Friday beforehand. Oh, Sarah, you have one more question? Or I'll let it wait, maybe.
Can I just
Okay.
say it?
Go ahead, Sarah. Yeah.
Okay. So when I was registering, there were 3 options of registering. There was one that said University of Scouting staff, and then there was the participant, and then there was one other one that was like, it said first time.
Yes.
Or something.
So there's basically an endowment that we have where if you are brand new as a registered volunteer this calendar year, you can get, Jennifer, is it all or most of the cost paid for? I'm trying to remember.
It's $15
Right.
for if you're registered with BSA within the last year for the first time.
So this is our effort to get brand new volunteers out to learn good things. So sorry, Sarah, you've been a vet volunteer for a while, but hey, $15 is still pretty good. So they get a decent discount. Hope that answers your question.
That helps for like recruiting people to come to.
Exactly. Go tell people about it at Roundtable next week, right?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. So classrooms, we don't have access on Friday. We are going to focus, as in past years, on setting up the common areas, the midway, the town and gown room, the Vista dining on that Friday, if we have access. And what that means is that anything that you bring in as an instructor, any setup you want to do, whether you're teaching hammock camping, ham radio, tie slides, whittling chip, cub crafts, any of that stuff, bring it in on Saturday morning and set it up right before your class, please. All of our indoor classrooms also have a built-in computer system. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. So you don't need to bring your own laptop. You can if you wish, but you don't have to. And each of those has a command station that I will again show you in just a moment that will probably make your life easier, I hope. And the thing that I really want to get down to you, every single one of you, if you haven't done this before, the easiest way to get handouts, slides, flyers, any kind of resource that you want to show to your participants in your classroom is through a USB flash drive. This is mine. Okay, it's going to go in my pocket and be ready to go. And what I'll kind of show you how that works in just a second, but it is really easy, especially if you're a PowerPoint user or something along those lines. It's all built in. So, and that's my last point here is every single computer has I don't remember which version, but a version of Microsoft Office installed. So it's all right there. So let's take a look. I've got some photos for you to give you an idea. If you haven't been here, if you haven't been an instructor or even at Mount Hood, what it looks like. This is, if I recall correctly, classroom 1582, I think it is. It's one of the classrooms that we have and have used quite often. This is a 36-seat classroom. Not every single classroom is arranged like this, but many of them are. Some of them are in rows or in different groupings like this, but this is one example, and a Liam Davis for scale here in the middle. If you can see, the teaching station is over there on the far left upper side of the photo. There's a screen built in, there's a projector built in. You don't have to bring any of these things. It comes with the room by default. So if I walk up, and I did, to where the teaching station is and turn around, what you'll see is something like this. There are in some classrooms whiteboards or chalkboards in the back. I would encourage everyone not to use them unless you have to, but you can, I guess, as long as you clean up after yourself. Again, a 36-seat classroom here is kind of an intimate setting. It's a good educational setting and encourages conversation and discussion, but everybody can see what you're projecting and what you're presenting. So that's nice. If I take about a half a step back, what you'll see is I'm not sure exactly what the name of this is, but it's kind of like a page projector down there on the left with the arm going up. If anybody knows what that is, please unmute and let me know. There's got to be a teacher in here that knows what that is. To the lower right
It's a document projector.
Document projector. Thank you, Colleen, the educator in the room. Yay.
Yes.
All right. And I think every classroom had one of those. To the right is the monitor for the computer. And one thing that I wanted to mention here is, I think I may have a slide later on, the computers do not lock. Many of them have a screensaver. Some of them don't. It never goes to sleep. It never locks. All you got to do is walk in, shake the mouse, and boom, it wakes up and you're ready to go. So it's very easy to use. Underneath that monitor, now I will caveat this with these photos were taken in 2019. However, I don't expect it to be very different. Right underneath the monitor is what I call the command station. It looks like this before you wake it up. Notice the label that says touch panel on the left. As advertised, this is 1582. There's a number on the very bottom of the image. As advertised, this is a touch panel. You poke it and it wakes up. And what it does is it controls all of those inputs that you see on the right side of your screen. So what you'll notice is if you bring a laptop, you've got a Cat5e connection for your Ethernet. You've got a video connection. You've got a 1/8" audio connection for your audio. And all of these things here, let me see if I can get a drawy thing up here. Let's use a pen. All of these here on the far left are the ways that you select what you want. This one here is the built-in PC that's right beneath this desk or within this desk. If I recall correctly, there was a DVD player on this. One of them had a VHS. I swear to you, it was crazy. What else is here? The external laptop was part of this. The document projector was part of this. You can select all those things by pushing those buttons, and it'll take a second to churn and switch all the things around, but there it goes. Pro tip, if you're trying to screen a video on the built-in computer or via your laptop and the audio is down to nothing, the volume is right up here on the top left, volume up, volume down. Claire Osterman couldn't find that in 2018 and it was very frustrating. We finally got it figured out. And this button down here is turn everything off, if you can see that. So what I want to bring your attention to is, one, if you do bring a laptop, last time we were there, most of these had, if you'll recognize this, Henry, you're an IT guy. What is this? You recognize this?
The VGA port.
It's a VGA port, 1998 called. They want their video connector back. I will mention that at least a handful of our classrooms last year actually did have an HDMI port, the female version. So I can't guarantee that your classroom will have an HDMI port if you want to bring your laptop, but it might. Most importantly, I want to point you to these two USB ports. Uh-oh. I want to point you to what I'm not going to point you to. A pen. There we go. These two USB ports here on the right. If you plug in your flash drive, what typically happens is the Windows box will auto mount your drive and put it on the screen. It'll usually bring up Windows Explorer and say, hey, you plug this thing in. What do you want with it? And it should be easy to, some of them I noticed didn't bring up Windows Explorer, but it's usually pretty easy to find if you're relatively savvy with MS Windows. It usually mounts at a D or E drive. I forget which, but it's going to be there. It's really easy, I promise you. And for those of you that have done this before, you probably remember it was plug it in, power up your PowerPoint or whatever, and off you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is stop sharing for just a second and give you another pro tip really quick. If you are an Apple user, I don't know how well that's going to work. Last time we were here in 2019, everything is Windows based, so your mileage may vary. If you are a Google Docs Sheets user and you want to do this on Google Slides, it's probably very possible. Again, it's going to take an extra step. You're probably going to need to log in to your Google account on the built-in browser. I'm pretty sure they had Chrome last time. Go to Google Drive, find your thing and open it up. I'm pretty sure it would work. It might be a little clunkier. Just game out now 31 days in advance. How am I going to get my my materials that I want to share with my participants onto the screen? Any questions about that while I have a moment? How am I doing, Jennifer? Okay. Thumbs up from Jennifer. I'm doing all right. Hopefully this makes sense. I have not been on campus since November of 2019. My intent was to go get fresh photos for everybody. I did not have a chance to do that yet, so I apologize. I will try to get a walkthrough. I know Jennifer is planning on doing something over the next week or two, if I remember right. If I can't make it, I'll have her take photos for me. That's my promise to you. Okay, last chance. Any other questions before we move on?
Just a quick going back on the computer again. Can you show the computer port on the command?
Yes, give me a second.
Because I think that is a female connector, which means you likely need a male to male
Yes,
word. And that's
precisely.
not common. A lot of people have male to female, but not male
Yes,
to male.
so you are correct. That is a female version, so you're going to need a
Usually
Yes,
on the
it's-
laptop, you have a female also, so you need a male
yes,
to male connector.
male to male VGA cord. And I will also
Not a
mention,
common
thanks Tim for bringing this up, because in that room, I did not see any VGA cables. So buyer beware. And Sarah, I see your question. I'll get to in just a second. So don't expect any cables or resources when you get there. I would expect a keyboard, a mouse, a computer screen, and this box right here. And if it has VGA 15 pin, that's what you got. If it has an HDMI, then probably a lot easier in your life. Okay, Sarah, possible to get samples at the Scout shop. You're going to need to talk to Kim about that. Jennifer, do you know if the Scout shop is going to be there? Oh, the Scout shop is not going to be there?
No, I don't know in what capacity they're going to be there. That's a Cheryl.
Okay. I saw Cheryl. Cheryl, do you have any intel on Scout Store? Cheryl's muted.
Sorry, I'm at a scout meeting. No, not yet. I don't.
Okay, so first and foremost, Sarah, we don't know if the Scout Store will be there. And if they are, you'll need to talk to Kim about that. She's usually very protective of her things, but she would probably be okay with loaning out a few things to somebody like yourself who is doing you're doing the Cub Scout songs, right, Sarah? Yes. Okay, awesome. Very cool. Okay. One last chance for any questions before I move on to equipment and loading. Let's see how I'm doing on time here. Ooh, awesome. Okay. Very good. Okay, so last time we were at Mount Hood in 2019, we had some significant challenges in the loading zone. We thought we were solving problems. We were just making them worse. So for Steve Willoughby and who else had a yard sale? Somebody else had maybe John Alexi, I forget. We had some real challenges there. So I'm sorry, we're going to fix that. So we're creating a loading zone where our service corps will meet you and cheerfully help you move your things to your classroom, especially early in the morning and late in the afternoon. Last year we had you go to entrance E as in elephant. This year, we're going to have you go to entrance D as in dog. So here's a map, if you will follow along with me. North is up and all that kind of thing. You see Stark Street going east-west, and it's Kane Drive, which becomes 200 and something north of Stark. Most of us come from the north to the south, at least me, myself, when I come from the Beaverton area, I'm coming, nope, that's not what I want. Sorry, I don't usually use pens and highlighters. I'm usually coming south here and then turning in wherever this is. If you're coming north on Kane, it's just going to have a quick right turn, no big deal. So it's pretty easy to get to. Google will help you find the way, or Apple, or any of those things. This is sort of an aerial view. For those of you that struggled in 2019, this was where we sent you. We're not sending you here anymore. So this is my warning. Don't go to this big circle here in the middle where there are big stairs. That's not where we want you to take your stuff if you want to unload and carry a bunch of things. If you don't need to take a bunch of stuff to a classroom, it's just you and a backpack and your water bottle and a lunch and your 10 essentials. Entrance E is perfect. Right here, there's a stop sign. You're going to turn left and go in. There's all this parking right here. That's probably what I'm going to do if I have to, if I don't park in the staff area, is to park over there. However, if you do have things to schlep to your classroom and need some help, go please one more entrance south to entrance D. You'll see it down here. There's no stoplight. It's just a turn lane. So if you're turning left, if you're turning right, it's just right there. And it's just past that first stoplight of exit or entrance E, excuse me. And this is what it looks like from the street. You'll notice entrance D on the sign and 2 lanes. And there's a very, very quick either turn right or turn left. We are going to ask you to please turn right. Otherwise, you're just going to go back to basically entrance E. So you're going to go in here and down this way for a little ways, and then the path, that street dog legs to the left, which I believe is to the east. You're going to see on your right, this is staff parking for Mountain Community College. Jennifer, I'm going to go ahead and say if folks have a lot of stuff to unload, when they get there and unload, I'm okay with them parking in the staff area. Are you okay with that? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. We got clearance from Jennifer. So that's on your right as you come in. On your left, you'll see the accessibility parking. If you have an accessibility placard, license plate, please feel free to use the parking lot. If you don't, please don't. There you go. Further on, as you get there, you're going to see this really cool big roundabout. Some of you from 2018 may have noticed this, but this is where we unloaded you in 2018. We're back because the other place didn't work. Look at all this space. We can park a fleet here all the way around. So please park to the outside nearest the curb to keep the inside lane clear so people can get through. And we will have Service Corps there for you. We're going to unload right on the other side of this this little structure, and then the way to get in to the classrooms is right in there. I hope that's clear. It's pretty easy to get to. This is an overhead map. Again, entrance E is this one, the main entrance. We're asking you to go down just to this guy right here. And I took you down here, took the circle. And then if you need to park quick, you can park there. Otherwise, main parking, there's a lot of it over here and some overflow over here. So there's lots of parking, which is really great for this location. Any questions on loading and unloading from anybody? Okay, Steve shakes his head, so we're moving on. Awesome. So this is a quick overhead view of the buildings. It's similar to last year's, past years, 18 and 19. We have Town and Gown, Vista Dining, and a couple other rooms here in the 1000s. Most of our classes, we have some 1300s. Jennifer's working on a map, by the way, with annotations of where all our classrooms are, which is going to be awesome. 1300s, we got some 15 and 1600s, and the CYL is over here in the 17s. It is if you've never been there, it is a long walk from one end to the other. So game out your day a little bit would be my suggestion, but they're great classrooms. It's really easy to use. And what you're going to see in your packet is something more like this. It's color coded. Our logistics team is working on color coordinated, signs and things to let you know that, oh, this is the yellow building or this is the blue building. It makes it really easy. So that's what we're up against. And if Gene, if you're watching or on the call, I don't think Gene's on the call. In terms of Dutch oven cooking, we're going to have you do the same exact thing you did in 2019 of come right in underneath, turn in, and I think Dutch oven's right here. So just drive on in early in the morning. We'll be there to let you in, please. So that's what that's all about. I'm going to stop sharing real quick and allow time for questions. How's everybody doing? Is this clear? Steve gives me a brief nod. I look good. Henry's doing okay there. All right. Please feel free to chime in if you have questions. Okay. Home stretch here, folks. Go ahead and share again. Okay, expenses. In past years, this has been a little bit different. I'm going to start with talking about if you have a non-fee class. So as Deb mentioned earlier, she is teaching a fee class. So Deb's class is going to come to the second bullet point. But if you're like me and you teach classes that you don't buy anything for, it's not one of those things that the participants pay extra for. We kind of expect a Scout is thrifty that you're going to keep your expenses to a minimum. If you do expect to have class expenses or anything that you need to buy to have a successful class, please let us know. And by us, I mean myself, Jennifer Hahn, and or Todd McDonald. We will make sure that this makes sense and give guidance on what to expect and how to get reimbursement on that. For fee classes, the vast majority of our fee classes are $5 per class, with the distinct exception of Dutch Oven Dutch Oven Advanced, which is a 2-hour class. So we doubled it to 10 because they're eating twice as much. We're doing a different Dutch oven thing this year, guys. It's going to be 1 hour for basic, 2 hours for advanced. It's going to be kind of cool. So for the Dutch oven team, your budget is totally different. Talk to Jennifer, talk to Todd. we'll get you some numbers on what you can expect and what your budget is. For everybody else, what's going to happen is, Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to do a quick poll on how many people are registered for your class, probably in the week leading up to this event. Multiply that number by 5, maybe give you a fudge factor and say, here's your budget. Jennifer, does that sound about right?
Yeah, a couple of the classes are, cost a little bit more. We have some $10 classes, so it'll
Okay.
be, adjusted accordingly. So
Okay.
I'm not
So
going to
if
pocket
you-
the other 5.
No, we're not trying to make money here. We're trying to break even, right? So yes, please reach out if you have questions in terms of if you have a fee class and what that budget means for you, how many people are signed up for your class. The best we can do is really guess if we pull the numbers the week before, because this is a hockey stick function, folks. People sign up at the last minute. It happens every year. So we're going to do the best we can. Please don't hesitate to send email to Jennifer, to myself, to Mr. McDonald. We'll get you the answers that you need. And to be clear, Mr. McDonald is the holder of the purse strings. Jennifer and I just try to advocate for everybody who needs something. And this is the way that we've done it in the past years. I saw Todd was on, so I hope he can correct me if I'm incorrect in my statement here. But what we ask you to do is to please bring your receipt on the day of the event. Give that receipt to Todd McDonald, and he will reimburse you on the spot. If you do not give him your receipt and the day goes by, the event is over, then we're kind of done here, and there really isn't much time or ability to reimburse you after the fact. Todd, do you have anything to add to that?
So I would say that there's a couple different ways we could go now that we kind of have some new tools. Would you rather be reimbursed on the spot or receive a check in the mail? What I mean by that is that we can give you maybe a little bit more time, like until Monday, to do a check request. And so essentially what you would do is you'd upload your receipts onto a form I could send, and then I would approve those to be sent out to you as a reimbursement on Monday.
All right, Jennifer, I'm going to hand that question to you.
I'm the one who started the bring a ton of petty cash and pay people there because
I mean, really, it's up to you. It doesn't matter to me because, so whichever you prefer, I'm good with.
I guess I'm checking in with the instructors here who might have fee or have receipts. What
I
you
know Deb has a fee class. Let's see who else has a fee class in here. Jennifer, do you see anybody you recognize as a fee class?
Steve does.
Okay.
Who else does?
All right. Are we doing camping on the trail again?
Yeah, we're doing, or you mean cooking on the trail?
Cooking on the trail.
Yeah,
And
and freezer bag cooking. So he's
Oh,
got 2 of
awesome.
them. Yeah.
Okay, so Deb says whatever's simpler.
Yeah. Deb.
so just take a second here. This is what I use. I approve about at least a dozen checks a day, if not more. And we use a form.
Let me go ahead and stop.
And so essentially what you could do is that you could use this form. And then with that form, you'd want oh shoot, what is that? 8103. And then you'd put my email down as the manager. And so really, as soon as you get that, I can approve those payments immediately, because as long as you put, my email down on that form at the bottom, then you get, I can immediately approve it, all your stuff's together in one place. And then you can kind of watch the process go by, that it was approved and that a check is being mailed. Also, you confirm that your address is correct and all that.
Okay, so for everyone who's not watching the chat, Todd put a link to a form on Tentaroo in the chat, as well as his email address. So that might be the better way to go about this in terms of being able to get those things into you even before the event. So
that way, you wouldn't have to wait until the event. As soon
Yeah.
as you have them, you can send me the receipts.
So Jennifer, can you grab that form and make sure that our instructors have access to that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Jennifer, I will send you the form
Mm-hmm.
and a couple other pieces of instructions, because you're going to want to put the right account number
Yep.
down
Okay.
in there. The rest is easy. You just total up the receipts, and then you upload the receipt on there, and then it's just all together in a digital form, and I can approve them from my phone. So even if you're there and you did it from the phone, from your phone into there, then I could still approve those check requests that day.
Okay.
All right.
So
That's
Jennifer will have an update for everyone on what reimbursement looks like for this year. Looks like we're going a little bit more.
Jen, I'll get it
high-tech.
to you tonight. I just got to confirm the account number.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it. Okay, and we are leaning into a Scout is Thrifty. I know in past years we have offered to have council print up stacks and stacks of handouts and things. We're asking everyone to go electronic if at all possible. Please create PDF flyers, handouts, whatever, put them on the Google Drive, and it is free. And the coolest thing is when we have our lanyards there, they're going to, Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, the plan is to have a QR code on the lanyard that they can scan and take them directly to the Google Drive. They can be flipping through your slides, your handouts as you're presenting and following along. That is the idea, right? So it's, and then they get to take that home with them and have those resources forever and ever. And that's just a really slick way to do that. So please go electronic if at all possible. And to speak to that a little bit more, you have all hopefully been invited to collaborate with our University of Scouting 2022 Google account. That is our primary way of sharing and collecting information. Please do upload the slides, flyers, handouts, anything that you have to the appropriate drive space for your class. You should have access to it. In past years, when we've done optical discs, CDs, we've asked for it by like today. But guess what? Nobody has an optical drive anymore. So whatever, it's Google Drive or nothing. And that's fine because everyone likes or finds it just as handy, if not more so. So our request to you is to have it in by the event. Okay. If you're updating things on Friday evening, fine. Just get it uploaded, get it up there so that when we hit the ground on Saturday morning, everything is ready to go. And again, one of your participants can scan the QR code and be flipping through your handouts and looking at exactly what you're talking about on the spot. That's a pretty cool way to do this. Every year we have a couple of people that just can't get to Google Drive somehow. If that's you and you just can't upload stuff, please let Jennifer or myself know, and we will be happy to take those from you and get those to the right place. So there is our email addresses again. Any questions on materials or reimbursements? We'll have more information for you. Okay, so let's see. Deb had to request access, but she hasn't gotten a reply. Jennifer, you might want to follow up on that, I think. You see that? Okay, we'll get you figured out. And tablet will be encouraged. Sarah, we're not necessarily encouraging people to bring tablets or laptops or whatever, but if they do and they see the QR code, then great, go ahead and use it. I think that's kind of where we're at right now. I think for the classes that I teach, if somebody's, following along on a device, it doesn't bother me. If it bothers you and you want eyeballs, let them know as the class starts, right? So not necessarily encouraging, but not necessarily saying, please don't, unless in your classroom, that's what you want. Thanks for the questions. This is great. I appreciate it. All right. So one of the things that we've done, we kind of started it in 2018 and 2019, is attendance sheets for each class. And the reason we're doing this is because what we noticed in years past is people would sign up for 5 or 6 classes. And then, for any individual class, you'd see like 8 people registered for it, but only you'd walk into the class on the day of, and you'd have like 3 or 4 people sitting there, or you'd have 16 people sitting there. And we realized that in these in-person on-site events like this, people will sign up for stuff, but then decide the day of, I want to go to this over here. And it's our best effort to get actual accurate data of how many people are actually sitting through a class and interacting with you, the instructor. And so the idea that we had originally was to have those attendance sheets in your packet as an instructor, but we realized 11th hour in 2019, it was much easier to make stacks of these, one for each classroom, and have them in order of when the classes were taught. So unless Jennifer does it differently, that's the vision that I think we're bringing forward. We're going to have those in the classrooms for you. So please just at the beginning of your class, pass the sheet around and have people sign in. And then the cool thing is, here's the great part. And so I hope, Eric, I'm hoping I'm answering your question right now. If you have a point in your presentation and you want to follow up with your participants, oh, let me get back to you on that, or oh, I don't know, let me ask and get back to you. You can take a picture of your attendance sheet after it's filled out, go home, figure out the answer, and email your participants. How cool is that, right? You can actually foster that element of a little bit of community. You are the content expert of whatever you're teaching. And I think most of our participants really appreciate hearing from you in some capacity of, hey, this was a great question and here's what I found out. And here's a good resource for that or whatever, or here's a follow-up, right? These aren't necessarily secret. And mostly what we do is we go and take totals of, there's 17 in this class, 22 in that, 5 in that, and we take that forward year over year and say, what's working, what's not working, right? We're not going to use Google Forms to sign in because that would require everyone to have their own active device. It works a lot better for us to have paper. Thanks, Steve, for the question. It works a lot better to have paper and we have like a permanent record. So, I mean, I still have stacks. In fact, Jennifer, you might have them if I gave them to you. I don't remember. I have a box with stacks. Okay, they're in my room somewhere here in my office. Stacks of paper. We can go back to 2019 and say who actually attended each class. Not that we really need to, but we can. So it's really sort of a meta thing of we just collapse all that data. And I will tell you guys, Jennifer Hahn is a data geek. She loves data. She likes to parse it, figure out what's growing, what's not growing, and all that kind of stuff. And that's awesome because that's going to be really big for future years to come. So this is the point where I ask about overall questions. This is my conclusion. What are you confused about? If you can't get to the Zoom chat, feel free to text me or email or whatever, and let me know what your questions are. I'll leave that up there for just a second and open the floor up for you good people. Anything confusing? Everybody good, ready to go? Okay, Mark's ready to go. Henry looks confused. Henry's good. All right, Jennifer, how are you feeling?
Feeling good.
Okay.
You still have
So-
some questions in the chat.
Oh, I do.
Right.
Let's see.
So the
While we-
class, if you want a class count or roster before the day of, contact
right.
me. I can probably get that. I can get that from Carrie. The online registration ends, I think it was on Thursday night. So, Friday, if you want that, I can get that to you.
Absolutely. For Sarah's question, can we get this whole PowerPoint? Yes, I will actually send this out with a pointer to a YouTube link with a pointer to this PowerPoint presentation with links that are live, hopefully as soon as possible, maybe tomorrow if I'm lucky. I got this and another video to make, but yes, Sarah, I will make this PowerPoint slide. Some people hate PowerPoint, death by PowerPoint. Some people find it useful. So I will get this out. Chris, let's come back to you in just a second. Deb, classroom shared. So yes, Jennifer, I'm gonna have you speak to that. Go ahead. Are the classrooms shared?
Yes, the classrooms are shared. There are very, very few open periods.
Where's it at?
You can set up, or get stuff prepped in the morning before the first class. And then, hopefully it'll stay where it's supposed to be until your class comes. And then that 10 minutes before, that is your crunch time. If you specifically need assistance during that time, let's say moving tables or something to make it, let me know and I will do my best to kind of get you a dedicated service corps member or two, I guess two, because they need to be in buddies, and so that you can get in and out of your space effectively and efficiently.
Excellent. Dan, I see you have your hand up and I muted you because it was noisy. Go ahead and unmute yourself. I see you're on a phone. Let me see if I can.
Yeah,
Go
dead
ahead.
meeting going on. So I was going to ask, what time in the morning can we arrive Saturday morning to start preparing?
We're going to be there really early. I'm guessing if you arrive and want access to your classroom at 7 a.m., we can probably make that happen. Jennifer, do we have any reason to think we won't have 7 a.m. access?
Nope, that's
Yeah.
later. That's later than the time that we're supposed to. That we
You and
have
I are going to be
contracted to
there at
open.
like 5 in the morning.
Oh, then we'll be open at 5, but yeah, 7 a.m.
No.
definitely.
That's true. We have a fantastic custodial staff gentleman. I can't remember his name. Is it Dan?
Dan.
He is awesome. And he's an awesome dude. And all we got to do is say, Dan, open our rooms for us, and he'll run around and open rooms. So I fully expect 7 a.m. Other questions? Oh, so Chris, why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself and talk about headshot/promos. Chris Bartel, our marketing genius, everyone.
I don't know about that. Yeah. Hey, folks. So excited to do this with you all. And it's just great. So great to get back in person and all that. So what we'd love to do is, if you want to promote your class, if you want us to promote your class, especially on social media, and for us, of course, to promote everything, is you can toss me an email, or I'm going to put my cell number here in the chat as well. And you can text me just a headshot of you or a picture of you doing something scouty, and maybe a little description that you want us to share about your class, why people should do it. That's the easiest way. Now, if you really want to get creative and have some fun, you can do a little video clip. There's an example. Oh gosh, I should pull it up here. Wait, I don't know. Maybe
yes, you should. Do we have it?
It's on Facebook if you want to grab it from there. Otherwise, I'll grab it in a second.
You keep talking. I'll see if I can get to it.
It's fantastic. Oh, I can always keep talking. And so anyway, it's basically you can just say, hey, gang, my name is Chris Bartel. I hope you come to University of Scouting, because it's going to be not only awesome, but if you come to my class, it's going to be super awesome, because I'm going to have swag and giveaways and all these kind of great things, because I'm in marketing. So come to my class, University of Scouting, at cpcbsa.org/University of Scouting. Sign up for my class and one of the bazillion other classes that are available, and we'll see you there. Something like that, like literally just do a selfie thing, maybe in front of something scouty, or just in, with trees in the background is kind of cool. Or something that represents the class you're teaching, burning food if you're doing Dutch oven cooking, something like that. So have some fun with it. It'd be really fun. And it should be just some short little clip. And what we'll do is we'll post it on social media. We'll post it on Facebook and Instagram. We are working on launching a TikTok feed actually as well. So we'll see how that goes. You'd have to be like super funny to be on TikTok, right? But don't shake anything too much. Just, okay, don't want that.
So anyway, Chris, the social medias are not coming up for me right now. I'm sorry. We'll try to point people at it. Dave Markle did a great video for his class. It was a lot of fun, and I promised Chris to create something similar, but I haven't had time. So I'm reiterating my promise, Chris. I'm going to create something for you. So let's try to make like the most fun set of videos to promote your class, what you're teaching. 60, 90 seconds, right, Chris? At most. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Short and sweet. 60 seconds is better. We do have some limits, especially on Instagram. So 60 seconds.
Okay.
Short,
60 seconds.
Short is better.
Even 45 seconds. Yeah. Todd McDonald chimes in with 152 adults signed up to date. Again, 72 instructors, 102 classes. You can drop some of these numbers if you want, and you're thinking, come to U of S. We got over 100 classes. Awesome people. It's going to be great. So yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Jennifer, do you have anything to add? Because I'm out of stuff.
I don't think so.
Last chance for questions. Let everybody out in under an hour.
Jennifer, I suspect you'll know how many people, how many spots each class started with. So if you go into the catalog through your registration, you can look and see how many spots are left for any particular class. So that's a way in real time to monitor how full your class is. So then all you have to do is figure out what your capacity was to begin with, and then you'll know how many people are registered in your class and how that changes over time.
And if you have a copy of the PDF version of the course catalog, I believe each of those has the maximum number of seats in the class, right, Jennifer? So yes, sorry, there's math involved a little bit, and then you got to go inquire to Tentaroo how many seats are left. But Colleen's absolutely correct. You can actually figure that out for yourself. But in terms of budgeting and all that kind of stuff, please, the official word comes from Mr. McDonald and Mrs. Hahn here. in terms of what you can expect and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to say go create your own math for that. So
It's always changing. It's always
yes.
changing.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And Jennifer and I will stick around for just a few minutes for any further questions. Thanks, everybody.